Welcome to today's presentation, sponsored by Medical Marijuana Incorporated and our KANNAWAY subsidiary. We're very excited about the future of these natural botanical hemp-based cannabinoids, particularly that of CBD, which is showing increasingly amazing therapeutic properties throughout the research community. Provided this presentation today in combination with our media team, who has really done an exceptional job to help move this forward. And there are many times that I will not be able to be present for certain KANNAWAY presentations and the rest, and I apologize for that. But nonetheless, hopefully this video presentation can give those new distributors, or possibly those looking to come on to the KANNAWAY network, a good idea about what the potential is for CBD, non-psychoactive cannabinoids, and how this might improve people's overall health and wellness. So I have a nice presentation today. We start out with industrial hemp and then move into some information and the rest about cannabinoids, and then we will have an appendix where I talk more about some of the medical research that's going on in the community at this point in time. So my name is Stuart Titus, and I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of Medical Marijuana Incorporated, and that's the parent company. And we've been public since March of 2009. I was one of the original investors in the company, and today I hold the role of President and Chief Executive Officer. We were the first company in this particular space, the first publicly traded company in the medical marijuana industrial hemp space in the United States markets, and certainly over the years we've done some exceptional things. Again, since our founding, we've been able to provide hemp-based CBD products starting in 2011 that have truly revolutionized our world and revolutionized the way people think about cannabis. We have a nice board of directors, a number of local San Diego-based business people, and our advisors to the board include a couple of well-known and researched doctors, Dr. George Anastasov, Dr. Philip van Dam from the Netherlands, who have been working to develop a particular type of medicated chewing gum that involves cannabinoids. And these doctors are oral maxillofacial surgeons, so they're very familiar with the oral mucosa as a delivery method. And certainly we're not only looking at novel cannabinoids, but also novel ways of bringing that to people to better accept those particular cannabinoids. Our company comprised of 4 divisions in nutraceutical sales, Hemp Meds, Dixie Botanicals, Canchew Biotechnologies, and KANNAWAY. Of course, that's our multi-level marketing company. And then we have 2 divisions that are also in pharmaceutical development, Axum Biotech and CannaLife Sciences. So to begin with a little bit of an education, the first thing we need to know is the difference between hemp and marijuana, both constituents of the cannabis plant family. And hemp generally will grow very tall and lengthy. It might grow as high as 10 to 20 feet in a growing cycle, which may be 90 to 120 days, and generally will contain a high concentration of non-psychoactive cannabinoids, particularly CBD. Around the world, hemp is mostly grown for textile and fiber purposes, and the seed of the plant is something that has have tremendous benefit for humanity in terms of nutritional aspects. Now, on the other side, marijuana generally grows short and bushy, about waist height. It's grown for a high concentration of the psychoactive cannabinoid, THC, and basically has little to no industrial application. Hemp food products are fully legal in the U.S., even though it's only legal to grow hemp for research purposes. Nonetheless, we can import and utilize hemp food products, and you'll find these throughout the health food stores in the United States. Mostly hemp seed, hemp oil, hemp protein powder, although we're also finding various hemp body care products, topical lotions, etc. Marijuana remains illegal at the federal level. But to date, 25 U.S. states plus Washington, D.C. have legalized marijuana for medical purposes, and 17 states approve CBD forms of marijuana for epileptic children so that families can stay home rather than have to move to Colorado. 4 U.S. states plus Washington, D.C. have legalized marijuana for recreational purposes, and we feel there may be as many as 14 other states in the coming years to be able to do so. So within the industry, our company has been involved with industrial hemp since 2007, when our founders first postulated that we could grow a high concentration of natural botanical cannabidiol within a hemp crop. And it took us a few growing cycles to be able to do this, but in 2011, our harvest that fall, we actually accomplished this and came up with a significant enough concentration CBD in the hemp crop to potentially provide therapeutic benefit. And then our first nutraceutical products were then available on the U.S. markets in early 2012. So basically what we're trying to say is that our company founded this entire hemp-based natural botanical CBD market arena. And we truly believe that there are huge benefits to the world from bringing back industrial hemp and exploring all the potential industrial applications. We really believe that this may add percentage points to our national gross domestic product once our farmers are able to grow hemp to a significant enough quantity where the entrepreneurial spirit of Americans can actually take advantage of what in economics we call economies of scale. So the number of industrial uses, again, just to relay some of the good information, biofuels, certainly the biomass that the hemp crop is able to generate can be used to fuel electrical generation, similar in South America where they grow sugarcane and utilize that biomass for biofuel. We believe that this is going to be a significant opportunity within the U.S. to provide clean energy that is fully carbon negative and, of course, reduce our dependence upon petroleum-based fossil fuels. Hemp textiles, hemp fibers can be developed into quality clothes and textile products. Unfortunately, cotton is very toxic in that it uses about 12% of all the world's agrochemicals, and unfortunately most of it is also grown on a GMO basis, so there are a lot of negatives for cotton, many positives for the environment by moving forward to hemp-based textiles. Hemp bioplastics are very popular, particularly over in Europe. Pictured here is Henry Ford's first car, which actually was developed fully from hemp-based fibers that have been woven into a light but very strong, just like steel, bioplastic and biocomposite. In Europe today, many manufacturers of automobiles such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz use hemp-based bioplastics for door panels, dashboards, etc. And we'd love to be able to bring that technology over here to the U.S. Hemp building and construction materials, pictured here, a house in Asheville, North Carolina, that was built because the parents had children with multiple chemical sensitivity disorders, and hemp is naturally antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal, as well as an excellent insulator. And in France, they build about 1,000 hemp houses every year. So great application for hemp board, hemp concrete, and hemp insulation materials. Hemp food products, the hemp seed can truly sustain life for long periods of time as it contains essential nutrients. And those include essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, as well as immunoglobulins, which help support the immune system. Interesting technology recently through a chemical engineer, Dr. David Mitlin, who's currently with Clarkson University, upstate New York, found that hemp holds amazing electrical properties, both in conducting electricity as well as in storing it, and what we call capacitors. So hemp provides to be an excellent electrical capacitor with the potential to benefit not only hybrid automobiles as well as solar power. It's something that today generally the solar industry is kind of a use it or lose it type situation. You have to basically utilize your solar power that day or else it dissipates. With hemp, these hemp batteries, interestingly enough, you may be able to, with one good day of sun, store enough energy to power your home for 7 days thereafter. So certainly we think this is going to increase the range on the electric vehicles. We think there's great application, obviously, for the solar and other industries. We're very, very excited about this potential application. And recently I've given a nice presentation in New York regarding hemp seed nutrition, and we really believe that hemp seed may be the food of our natural human biological adaptation. in nature, horses, cows, etc., just naturally know what to eat. And of course, they eat pasture grass and alfalfa and clover, that sort of thing. But us humans, we're kind of omnivores, so we don't really have what you might call a food of our biological adaptation, except when we look at hemp and the seed of this Cannabis L sativa plant, where we really believe that this helps supplement basically the largest self-regulatory system in the human body. So basically the overall benefit to humanity of the tiny little hemp seed is quite enormous. So there are a couple of very famous researchers who've looked at hemp and hemp seed nutrition, and this one German-American scientist, Dr. Gero Lasson, mentions that hemp seed is a nutritional powerhouse. And he notes that hemp seed is an excellent source of several critical mineral nutrients as well as vitamins. A Dr. J.C. Callaway notes that the seed from Cannabis L sativa, the plant family that of course hemp belongs to, has been an important source of nutrition for thousands of years in old world cultures. And we've also found that hemp seed has been used for thousands of years to treat various disorders in traditional Oriental medicine. Hemp seed, hemp oil, tinctures have been part of this folklore. It really goes back to the beginning of recorded history. Recent clinical trials have also classified hemp seed as a functional food. And animal feeding studies demonstrate the long-term standing utility of hemp seed as an important food resource. So the three main factors in hemp nutrition would be the essential fatty acids, the essential amino acids, and the immune-supporting boosting proteins known as immunoglobulins. And let's get into that just a little bit more detail. First, these essential fatty acids are termed essential because they need to necessarily come from our diets. The body cannot synthesize them. So the body's meant to live in symbiosis or in synchrony, if you will, with these various plants around us. And certainly we believe that the essential fatty acids that you can find in hemp, the plant-based amino acids, provide significant benefit for overall health and wellness. The human body basically lacks certain enzymes required to synthesize these essential fatty acids. So the two fatty acids that are known to be essential for humans are both omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid. Technically, omega-3 might be called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA, and the omega-6 fatty acid is technically called linoleic acid, or LA. And the hemp seed contains both omega-3 and omega-6 in a nicely balanced proportion. Most of our diet today in America, we get extreme amounts of omega-6 and very little amounts of omega-3, and we need to try to reverse that seesaw pattern, if you will. And certainly we believe the omega-3 that you'll find in hemp will provide great benefits for a number of potential conditions within the human body, those in terms of metabolic syndrome, reducing inflammation. So there are other essential fatty acids that are called conditionally essential fatty acids, and this just means that they're essential under certain developmental or disease conditions. These essential fatty acids are called DHA, which is another omega-3 fatty acid, GLA, and SDA, very technically. So when these essential fatty acids were discovered in 1923, they were originally designated as vitamin F. But unfortunately, as research went on in animals, it showed that the two essential fatty acids were better classified as fats than vitamins. And of course, it's kind of a little misnomer today because people are so fat adverse that we tend to avoid these at all costs. But nonetheless, these essential fatty acids are true brain food, and people who are deficient in these essential fatty acids do tend to develop certain conditions and potentially certain disorders. So the functions of essential fatty acids basically are to affect inflammation and other cellular functions. Certainly the essential fatty acids can be modified within the body to make what's called endocannabinoids, or natural cannabinoids that work with the human body to affect mood, sleep, appetite, hormones, and inflammation. Basically, this endogenous cannabinoid system regulates overall functioning within the human body and creates a homeostasis or a balance within us. They Essential fatty acids can be modified to make lipoxins, which again downregulate inflammation, lipid rafts, which affect cellular communication, and also DNA transcription factors, which activate or inhibit DNA transcription. So we will see later in the presentation that some of the cannabinoids, particularly CBD, works at the genetic level to help the human body to a higher level of health and wellness. Almost all the polyunsaturated fats in the human diet are essential fatty acids. They play an important role in the life and death of cardiac cells. Dr. Udo Erasmus, in his wonderful book called Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill, basically concluded that the best balanced source of essential fatty acids is hemp seed oil. Now turning to essential amino acids, hemp seed contains all 20 amino acids, which are basically the building blocks of protein. And of these amino acids, 9 are again considered essential, that they necessarily have to come from your diet, as the body lacks the necessary enzymes to produce these internally. 6 other amino acids are again considered conditionally essential. So in case of certain illnesses or disease, that these are essential for the body to heal and recover. So hemp seed contains a full spectrum of these amino acids, and only one other plant source, quinoa, interestingly enough, will contain the full spectrum of your amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of a protein. They're combined to form various chains, like individual cars of a freight train, that compose a protein. And protein have tremendous application in the body for building healthy muscle after exercise, replacing older deteriorating cells. These are large biomolecules or macromolecules containing one or more long chains of these amino acid residues. Hemp seed also contains immunoglobulins, and these globulins are special types of protein that have a significant function in supporting the body's immune system. So these globulins are found in the bloodstream. They can be produced by the liver or the immune system, and certainly help the body to fight off bacteria, viruses, and other invading pathogens. Basically, these immunoglobulins are produced by the white blood cells located in the lymph nodes, and these gamma globulins, as they're called, are basically the first line of defense that the body has to fight off invading pathogens. Basically, these pathogens usually pass through the lymphatic system before gaining access to the blood system. Thus, these immunoglobulins, the natural antibodies, are located within this lymphatic system. So hemp seed are the premier plant seed provider of globulin, which is the starting base material used in the body's immune response. Hemp seed has been used quite a lot in skin disorders. These essential fatty acids may affect the body's immune responses, and studies have shown that giving hemp seed oil with people with eczema, psoriasis, etc. May improve blood levels of essential fatty acids, as well as help reverse these conditions. One of our pharma development companies, Axum Biotech, is actually working on a topical application right now to treat these various skin disorders. Hemp seed also contains something called globulin edestin, which closely resembles human blood. Thus, it carries tremendous benefits for the easy digestion of protein. So it's far more digestible and bioavailable as compared to soy or whey. So edestin protein is only found in hemp and is considered to be the backbone of DNA. Billy Locke, who's a health and fitness trainer, and basically has mentioned that hemp protein is his choice as the best protein for building muscle and promoting overall health. Hemp's nutrient density is greater than that of other protein powders and is packed with bioavailable enzymes, beneficial bacteria, which facilitate the conversion of amino acids into muscle tissue. Getting further into hemp seed, there is a concept of electrical nutrition, and earlier we mentioned the electrical properties of hemp, but we truly are electrochemical beings. Everything we eat, drink, and touch affects us electrically. So our overall life force, vitality, what we call Qi or Qi is basically electrical energy that is associated with living organisms. And again, hemp is quite electric, not only in its inspirational attributes, but actually has been developed into this incredible energy source through various technology developed by Dr. Mitlin. And so he and his research group are looking to commercialize these hemp batteries and storage capacitors that may rival the very best of science. The nice thing is they'll be sustainable and renewable. You won't have to go mining and through all this terrible environmental situation, and we can do this for significantly less cost if this technology proves itself out. Certainly we believe this development may well revolutionize the way we think about energy and its storage for generations to come. So hemp seed and electrical nutrition, there's a wonderful book by New Zealand farmers, Denny and Shelley Heistad. It's titled Electrical Nutrition, and it relates the story of how certain foods carry exceptional electrical capabilities. And if we burden our bodies with electrically inactive foods, we'll suffer fatigue and disease. So nutritionists, scientists, and the medical community are all looking towards chemical components, chemical reactions in developing drugs, but no one's really paying attention to this whole other side of us, the electrical side, and we believe this is the cause of many of the shortcomings of today's medicine. We routinely measure numerous electrical activities within the human body, things such as your heart activity, your EKGs, or the brain and brainwave activity of your EEGs, the electroencephalogram, the electrical activity in the muscles, your electromyogram, and even within nerve conduction studies, looking at the electrical conductivity of the nerves in the body. And we rarely think to treat the human body with these same electrical signals that we're routinely measuring. However, there's significant evidence showing when you put those proper electrical signals back into the body, this concept of electromedicine may be one of the next frontiers in medicine of the future. And to this, we believe hemp may play a significant role. There is an endogenous cannabinoid natural to us all, known as anandamide, and anandamide has shown significant benefit as a cell signaling molecule. Further on electrical activity of the human body, these two German scientists, Dr. Sackman and Nair, won a Nobel Prize back in 1991 for their research showing that nutrients enter the cell membrane and depart through an electrical response. And for years, research scientists have been looking at various chemical reactions and various chemical ways to gain entry and access to the cell, but nonetheless these German researchers proved in 1991 that it was actually an electrical activity is what triggers the opening of the cell membrane, these gates, channels, if you will, that allow for nutrients to come in and waste products to depart. So it's interesting to see that the human body often brings nutrients to particular areas, not because of their chemical characteristics, but because of their electrical capabilities to initiate certain reactions. And we certainly again believe that hemp seed is going to be a big part of this future of electromedicine. So this research scientist, Dr. Bjorn Nordenström from the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm, Sweden, that's where they give out the Nobel Prize Awards, he's postulated that there is an entire additional circulatory system within the human body known as the electrical circulatory system. And it's true that when we go to bed at night, we don't actually plug ourselves into the wall outlet, but nonetheless we regenerate electrical activity within our nervous system during that sleep time. And of course, anyone who's ever gone out with an all-nighter knows the next day you're not quite as sharp and alert mentally, and you're a little bit slow with your reactions, etc. So this concept of this electrical circulatory system is well outlined in Dr. Nordenström's books, Biologically Closed Electrical Systems, and then his Cliff's Notes, if you will, called Biologically Closed Electrical Circuits. So within the human body, there are a number of recognized systems, and just to review a few of these, we have the integumentary system, which is your skin, hair, and nails, your muscular system, skeletal system, your circulatory system, which is circulation of the blood via the arteries, capillaries, and veins, your nervous system, lymphatic system, respiratory system, endocrine system dealing with your hormones, and now an electrical circulatory system that hemp can basically feed this particular system. One more important but less recognized system is the endogenous cannabinoid system. And this was discovered in the mid-1980s and is today far under-recognized for its far-reaching importance. This system, which regulates balance, or what's called homeostasis within us, regulates such functions as mood, sleep, appetite, hormone regulation, and basically any functioning, any process within the human body, this endogenous cannabinoid system would play a role in it. We have Dr. David Allen, who's got a great 3-minute video. Those who want to get a copy of this presentation, there's a hot link to it, and we can easily have that available for you. But the numerous functioning or functions of the endogenous cannabinoid system can be summarized as the body's ability to maintain itself and function in the proper environment, according to Dr. Allen. And the endogenous cannabinoid system has receptor sites in both the brain, which would be called the CB1 receptor, the brain and the central nervous system, and your CB2 receptor is mostly located in your internal organs, the gut or the viscera. And it's very interesting to note that the CB1 neurotransmitter receptor in the brain has more receptor sites than the receptor sites for all other neurotransmitters combined. Thus, many researchers now conclude that we humans, including all mammalian creatures, horses, cats, dogs, fish, are designed to accept these plant-based cannabinoids in order to supplement the functioning of this large and broadly encompassing self-regulatory system. And cannabinoids, of course, are found in hemp and hemp seed. Most of the high concentration cannabinoid hemp seed is replanted to grow additional crop, but soon we will have cannabinoid rich hemp seed, and we think this is something that certainly will potentially transform overall long-term health and wellness. So the hemp plant that we have actually developed contains between 80 and 100 trace cannabinoids. And of course, our main cannabinoid at this moment in time is cannabidiol, the non-psychoactive cannabinoid. But it's also interesting to note there are additional 400 plus or minus chemical compounds found in hemp that include things such as terpenoids, flavonoids, plant waxes, chlorophyll, etc. And these components, these chemical components, may be expressed in relatively small quantities. Nonetheless, they all synergistically come together to produce what's called an entourage effect, which is a tremendous magnification on human health and wellness. So here is a little breakdown visually. You can see the different components of the hemp plant, your cellulose, waxes, fats, chlorophyll, flavonoids, pigments, various cannabinoids, of course, your terpenes, etc. And again, this entourage effect has been greatly described in medicine, a wonderful paper by Dr. Ethan Rousseau, and that the sum total of all these plant components working together produces a far greater effect than what you might have with an active ingredient extraction. So we believe that because of this entourage effect, that our natural botanical hemp-based CBD will provide a much greater effect than what can be developed pharmaceutically. So CBD and hemp seed, the non-psychoactive cannabinoid, will again soon be available in significant concentration in your hemp seed, but nonetheless we have a variety of different products that contain significant amounts of hemp-based CBD. U.S. government research actually shows a patent on the therapeutic use of cannabinoids. This is titled Cannabinoids as Antioxidants and Neuroprotectants. A very famous patent in the cannabis world. It's patent number 6630507. And it has great potential application for neurological conditions, things such as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, etc. But also the antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effects may have great benefit for metabolic syndrome, including heart, cardiovascular, diabetes, and rheumatoid arthritis. And there's great research going on in Israel at this moment in time on this concept of metabolic syndrome. There's potential application for cancer, a couple of interesting early stage bits of research, but also we feel cancer is an error or is a metabolic error within the human body. And again, this may well be treated by our concept of nutrition against disease. Osteopathy, there's great application for osteoporosis and bone fracture healing because research study has shown CBD targets the mitochondria of the cell to regulate intercellular calcium levels. And of course, if you're a little bit calcium deficient, you'll start to have weakened bones in this osteoporosis condition. And by getting the cells to absorb more of the calcium, potentially this situation of osteoporosis may be able to be addressed. So there are pharmaceutical development companies looking at this at the moment. Research is going on here in the U.S. on a traumatic brain injury. Our KANNAWAY Life Sciences group is looking at this. And we're very excited about the future here and other neurological conditions, things such as epilepsy, depression, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, PTSD, all may be well treated with cannabis. I mentioned this concept of nutrition against disease. There's a very famous book. It's kind of out of print now, but Dr. Roger Williams back in the 1940s did publish this. Basically, it's a story of how nutritional deficiencies can contribute to lower than normal health and even lead to disease. For example, many generations ago when sailors were regularly sailing the open seas, you'd have a condition where they would develop what's called scurvy. And it was found that just taking a little bit of vitamin C, kind of a little bit of nutrition, would actually prevent this scurvy from happening. And now that vitamin C has been well researched and recognized as a recommended daily allowance, basically I don't know of one doctor who's ever seen a case of scurvy in society. And taking this one step further, if this concept, nutrition against disease, actually works for metabolic syndrome, maybe in the future there'll be doctors who never see heart cardiovascular patients or never even see diabetes patients, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very excited about this concept of nutrition against disease and think it's a very key component of what we're trying to do with KANNAWAY. Earlier we did mention this entourage effect. I can't say enough about how the synergistic effects of all these plant materials, 500 different chemical compounds, your 100 cannabinoids and 400 other plus plant materials all work together. Dr. Sanjay Gupta has a wonderful little 2-minute piece on CNN on the entourage effect and how he also believes that the plant-based form is going to be much more powerful than the pharmaceutical version where you only have 1 or 2 active ingredients. Here we may have as many as 500 active ingredients. A little bit further on this concept of nutrition against disease, I was at the 2016 European Industrial Hemp Association conference in Germany. We heard Dr. Patrick Collins of Asabu University in Japan speak, and he mentioned that dementia is a relatively new development within Japan, and he believes a contributing factor is that hemp seed and hemp-based cannabinoids have been removed from the Japanese diet since the end of World War II. Basically, World War II, when the U.S. won, we exerted our influence, and at one time, hemp was a tremendous commodity within Japan. There were at one point 85 different hemp textile factories. Hemp seed was a natural part of their diet, and currently there are 4 million individuals diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's in Japan, and it's expected in the near future that this may rise to as many as 7 million people. And again, formerly a staple of the Japanese diet, the removal of these hemp food products with 2 or 3 generations worth of this removal has led to potentially, according to this doctor, potentially led to certain brain-related, central nervous system-related conditions that unfortunately it's just something that has happened and occurred, but he believes that once we're able to bring back hemp to Japan, and particularly these hemp-based cannabinoids that have really got some great concentration of these vital and essential nutrients in them, that we may really be able to make a dent in this particular condition. So going further on this nutrition against disease topic, there is a clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome that has been brought forth by this very famous cannabis researcher, Dr. Ethan Rousseau, and he mentions that certain very difficult to treat conditions, things such as fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, irritable bowel syndrome, migraine, headache, all arise as a result of an internal cannabinoid deficiency. And supplementing with plant-based cannabinoids does seem to have a positive effect on people's overall health and wellness. Here in this nice little, what we call closed loop network, KANNAWAY, I can tell my story, how CBD basically changed my life, and I'm thrilled to be able to tell this in public. I really not offered that type of privilege, but going back about 5 years, I developed, unfortunately, Lyme disease, and I was just playing golf in a wooded course in North Carolina, got a deer tick bite, and gosh, in a week I had just the worst pain. Of course, I used to be a PhD physiotherapist specializing in pain management, and unfortunately had this terrible deer tick situation that really came on very quickly. And then over the next 6 months, every day it seemed I had more and more of this muscle spasm, and it got to the point where, my gosh, I could just barely dress myself in the morning, and I thought that as this had wore on for almost a 2-year period, that basically I was going to be confined to assisted living and probably a nursing home, and that was going to be the rest of my life. It was very depressing. Certainly, the ability to do normal things, just getting up and getting dressed in the morning was a monumental task. Trying to walk across a room was very difficult. It might take me 20 minutes. Doing normal things we don't even think about, picking things up off the floor. Well, I had terrible dizziness and vertigo. My sleep was terrible because I had this muscle twitch, or what might be called restless leg syndrome, all night. And it wasn't until I got my first CBD product, and it was just interesting or fortunate, whatever, that I was in this particular industry. I was one of the first to get a 25 milligram capsule of CBD. And for the first time in 2 years, that evening, I slept the full night through without one episode of this muscle twitch and spasm. Thus, from that, I was absolutely amazed at how powerful this product was on the body's central nervous system, and how over time I started to regain more function. My muscles came out of this spasmodic state. I was able to do more. That was some acupuncture and physical therapy. Within a year and a half, I'd regained probably 85 or 90% of the ability to function in society. It was absolutely incredible, kind of watching yourself go downhill so quickly. It was like when I got this Lyme's, I mean, it was like within 6 months I'd aged 75 years. It was just the wildest thing I ever had experienced in my life. And then to be able to reverse that and come back and be able to handle the stresses and pressure of a CEO type job, where I'm traveling the world, playing 18 holes of golf, walking 18 holes, is just something that's a true blessing for me. And perhaps the story of my recovery just means there was something I had to do later in life. And certainly I'm a tremendous advocate for this, and certainly know that people in KANNAWAY, where these anecdotal stories are so important, this multi-level marketing, kind of the belly-to-belly exchange of various stories, and certainly as we move forward with some of our clinical research, we look forward to being able to prove this out and actually be able to make certain claims at some point. But nonetheless, these anecdotal stories are fueling this whole amazing CBD revolution. Certainly when you see a young child who has failed, unfortunately, all kind of pharmaceutical intervention and has these terrible epileptic seizures, and all of a sudden you put a little drop of hemp oil under their tongue and that seizure stops right in the middle of this seizure activity. There's something very powerful going on, and we're certainly thrilled to be part of this, this movement. So to summarize, I'd just like to mention that this endogenous cannabinoid system that's characteristic of all us humans is the largest self-regulatory system in the human body. With a huge and massive expression of the CB1 receptor sites in the brain for this neurotransmitter, it's imperative that humans supplement this large self-regulatory system with plant-based cannabinoids, which used to be natural to all types of plants. For example, you can find cannabinoids in things such as flax, echinacea, hops, kava, even common tea would have cannabinoids. And unfortunately, with our farming practices and the rest today, these cannabinoids have been kind of taken out, if you will, of circulation, and most of us today are extremely cannabinoid deficient. So hemp provides the best source of plant-based nutrition with its complete essential fatty acid profile that protects the cell membrane from damage, including that of free radicals and oxidative stress. Hemp provides complete amino acid profile to build healthy protein, as well as holds immunoglobulins for immune system support. Hemp provides these non-psychoactive cannabinoids that have amazing therapeutic potential, including a U.S. government research patent, including these anti-aging properties. So concentrated high cannabinoid hemp oil has shown great benefit to the point where our company has 9 medical indications within Brazil and their healthcare system for development, including refractory epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, chronic pain, which includes migraine headache, Alzheimer's, PTSD, attention deficit disorder, multiple sclerosis, autism, and even cancer with your post-chemotherapy recovery. Around the world, there's tremendous research going on. Here on this slide, I have various hot links if you're interested to follow the various research studies that are going on. And certainly our company, the parent company, Medical Marijuana Inc., is a company of firsts. So we're the first publicly traded company in the U.S. to engage within this legal cannabis space, if you will. We created the whole CBD hemp oil category with the first pipeline from Europe, introduced the first natural botanical hemp-based CBD products to the U.S. marketplace back in early 2012. We're the first company to bring a legal cannabis-based product into Brazil, April 2014, into Puerto Rico, where we now have 12 product registrations, and as of February 1st this year, into Mexico with our RSHOX product. And this product was fully THC-free, so those of you who are being drug tested and all can take this product without worry of failing any type of a drug test. And this product also happens to be the first cannabis-based product that would qualify for world anti-doping standards. So our Olympic athletes, our professional sport athletes could all take this RSHOX without worry of failing any kind of a drug test. So in short, basically we created this legal hemp-based CBD industry in the U.S., and this did not exist until our companies and subsidiaries had developed it. Going to the future, we would be thrilled if all our children were fed cannabinoid-rich hemp seed. This would potentially affect their overall development, health, wellness, nutrition. Obviously this is great brain food, and certainly we think hemp seed is a champion of both physical and mental health. Hemp seed rules supreme in terms of long-term human preventative health and wellness measures. So the overall benefit to humanity of this tiny hemp seed is enormous. So this concludes my basic presentation. I do have an appendix which will outline some of the medical research that's going on around the globe, and I think we'll take a little break at the moment, but I'll come back with part B here in just a little bit. Thank you so much for attending today, and thank you to our CMW media crew, Andrew Hard, the CEO, Christian, Jordan, Zarina, and the team, Hunter as well, and we certainly thank them for making this presentation available to all the people within KANNAWAY.